Well, hello, everybody. I'm Randall Hunt, VP of Cloud here at Caylent. And what I wanted to talk to you about today is all of the new features that are out in Bedrock. And we've been playing with it. We were a launch partner for it. And lots of things have changed. So let's talk about what is new and what's exciting. First are the improvements with knowledge bases. Additional connectors, additional databases, things like Confluence, SharePoint, Salesforce are all now native connectors for Amazon Bedrock knowledge bases. Additionally, knowledge bases has improved functionality around chunking, parsing, and other capabilities when working with the underlying data. This is both for ingestion and for contextual retrieval. You can also customize the retrieval instructions in ways that were previously not exposed to the developer environment. Next, we have agents. Agents had significant improvements. We started all the way back even last year getting improvements in agents where we were able to start tracing the execution of each path. And agents has also evolved now to have the code interpreter environment, which will allow you to execute sandbox code. Imagine creating a plot, for example, or writing some Python to calculate something. If you remember, LLMs are not particularly good at math from a pure calculation standpoint. If you were to add up numbers, some basic math may work because the vectors and the tokens correspond to some numerical component within the latent space of the network. But when it comes to more complex analysis and statistics and things like that, the LLMs are really just token predicting machines. They don't have the capability to do that calculation. And it would be an incredibly inefficient way of doing that calculation anyway. So where the code interpreter really shines is in taking these traditional programming and execution tasks and turning them into Python code that will execute in the secure sandboxed environment, and it will retrieve the result and render it to the model for subsequent inference. This is a huge capability. It's a massive add-on, and we've been building this for a number of different customers just as a kind of side project or a hack, really, using the existing Bedrock systems. Now that it's built in natively to agents, we're hoping to go back to some of these customers and replace some of that code with the Bedrock Agents native functionality. We're really, really excited about Code Interpreter. We think that's going to be one of the stellar features for Bedrock going forward. Next, Bedrock Guardrails added a number of new components and functionality that make it much easier to confidently take advantage of retrieval augmented generation. Retrieval augmented generation is the technique that allows your models to have confidence in the tokens that they're generating. And we use this to fetch knowledge that can enrich the context of the inference in real time. Now, the guardrails components that launch that improve retrieval augmented generation are one, a confidence threshold, which says how confident it is in the veracity of this inference based on the documents that were provided to it as part of the retrieval augmented generation process. And second, a relevance threshold, which is how relevant is the citation that was provided in the context for the user's original intent. With these two guardrails combined, you can get a lot better performance from your retrieval augmented generation. And I'm pretty confident in the performance of these, and I hope to continue using them. The other great component with Bedrock Guardrails that just came out is a new feature called Apply Guardrail. This is an API that exists separately from the rest of the API namespace that would allow you to call Bedrock Guardrails on third-party models that are not in Bedrock. So imagine you have a model in SageMaker, imagine you have a model in EC2, in EKS, wherever you may be hosting it. That model can now use Bedrock Guardrails to make its own inferences and check them against those guardrails. This lets you define your guardrails in one place, in one service, and then apply them across multiple different models and invocations if those models are not available in Bedrock. Finally, two new Bedrock features that came out and were much requested are Prompt Catalog and Prompt Flows. Prompt catalogs are exactly what it sounds like. You store your prompts, there's an interface, there's an API for managing them, and you can think of this as a great way to version your prompts. You could A/B test, and you can keep the history of your changes to the prompts The prompt catalog also accepts various variables that can be populated in real time when you're invoking the prompts. And you can imagine keeping different versions of these for different models, or just keeping different versions for various tests and evals. Prompt flows is a design language for connecting different individual prompts and tools together. So all of this really goes back to the original Converse API that was released prior to the New York Summit. And it's exposing the tool usage, the connection, the network of prompts, all of these things that existed in that Converse API, and giving you a nice graphical interface as well as a nice design language with which to build these chains of thought, these chains of prompts, and these chains of actions that are all associated with the prompt flow. We're excited about both of these features, and again, these are things that people have been implementing outside of the service, and in traditional AWS fashion, what they've done is removed a lot of the undifferentiated heavy lifting of building all of this stuff and writing all of this code and having hundreds of different implementations across customers. And instead, we're able to leverage the native services and get the same functionality or better. We're really excited about it, and we can't wait to use it more. And we hope that you get a chance to use it too.